برهام باء وراء ألف ثم ها ميم مجل فيض جخن نينان ci seen taxawaay bu rafet ak jàppale fond bu Medina Baye moo waral fond Medina Baye jëmmal ak yaatal ay liggéeyam.
fond Medina Baye dañ koy sant ndax étape bi nga xam ne ci fond bi ñëw na defal ñu xéwal yi ndimbal lu mag li fekkoon na école bi soxla woon na ko sama mbokki taalibe maa ngi leen di ñaax lépp loo xam ne li fond bi woote na ko ci lu aju ci xidmaal Cheikh Ibrahima xidmaal xam-xam ngeen taxaw ci bu leen ci kenn jiitu.
mën ngeen a yónnee seeni ndimbal ci numéro yii di ñëw Orange Money ak Wave ci 77 481 04 04 code marchand ci 24 04 84 wala ngeen yónnee ci Free Money 76 266 68 68.
fond bi amul projet bu ëpp néeg baay bi bu dee 100 millions pour mu baax dinañ ko def ci àddina bi yëpp ci diaspora bi ngi defar un appel solennel di wax ne fond bi bu doon réhabilité néeg Baye Niass bii rek jar na lépp lu man mu def ko ci maktab bi nga xam ne fond bi moo koy àggali te ñu ngi ci nii ci raax bi pour que gan yi mën fa dal aussi en masse mu nekk benn R+2 boo xam ne lu néew capacité d'accueil bi suñ ko utiliser ci gàmm gi mën na jël 1000 personnes.
ngir am ci ay leeral mën ngeen a woote ci 77 481 04 04 77 527 67 67 77 354 95 56.
kuy tabaxu nag foog nga am dara kuy am dara nag yaay génne dara ah yéen di ngeen di wax money make the money ah voilà donc dañoo bëgg xaalis bon ay foog ñu joxe xaalis pour am xaalis yàlla ñu yàlla dimbale ci loolu te buñ ko defee dinañ gis barke boo xam ne géntuñ ko woon man maa leen ko wax ah du man maa ko wax sax waaye Baye moo ko wax ah moo ko wax ci ay baytu yoo xam ne def leen nii bon di ngeen am lu ngeen foogutoon ne mën ngeen ko am te bii ci la bokk fond bi géntuñ ko woon waaye gis nga tëb na rek feeñ ci àddina.
Sheikh Ibrahim came at a time when Ma'rifa again itself was completely, if not almost entirely lost. Therefore, the object of deen, meaning Allah, and the key to Allah, meaning Ma'rifa, again. So Sheikh Ibrahim, what does he do? He produces a very simple text. Maqamat ad-din al-thalath. He produces a very apparently simple text.
Imam dal ci gàttal daf doon waxtaan ci téere Baye bi ñuy wax Maqamat ad-din al-thalath di wax ne Baye dafa feeñ ci période boo xam ne Ma'rifa dafa raaroon raaf jëm ci jeex bi mu ñëwee mu koy jàngale ci ni mu ko jàngale na bokk na ci téere su ndaw su ñi xeeb nga xam ne ab lettre la woon bu mbindu Omar Kouta muy Maqamat ad-din al-thalath mu ne Baye tënk ko ci leeral firil ñu lan mooy laa ilaha illallah nee na dafa am zahir am baatinu baatin mu koy wax loolu la nekk di expliqué ba ñëw ci xadis yi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam bi naan bada ad-diinu gariban wala budi ad-diinu ni ko Baye di jàngee moom budi ad-diinu gariban bada al-islaamu gariban Baye moom ci interview bi mujj Arabie Saoudite sax moom budi la wax diine dafa tàmbali ci ne dafa tumuranke dana dellu ci tumuranke ga nam nekkoon ci njëlbeenam mu ne fa tubaalil ghuraba glad tidings to the strangers moom la imaam tëjee mu ne kon mi ngi ndokkeel way tumuranke yi du amul benn sikk ne mooy ñi ngi dajee fii ku ci nekk bokk ci beneen langue bokk ci beneen xeet ñu dajee mbokkoo ci yàlla ñi ngi koy gërëm bu baax ci intervention xanaa di delloo
bismillah alhamdulillah allahumma salli ala sayyidina muhammadin al-fatih wa khatim al-asrar nasir al-haqq wal haqq wal hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqq qadrihi wa al-azim. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah. So first, I just want to thank Allah, thank all of you for this opportunity, the organizers and everyone who spoke. They spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to contribute, and I'm honored to be amongst them. Thank you so much. I think I was asked to speak about some of my contemplations after having translated the Maqamat ad-din al-thalath, the three stations of of deen. I think it's very important in order to be able to benefit most from this text is to understand its context. As you know, Sufyani, he said in the Ifada al-Ahmadiyya, he narrated what he heard from Shaykh Faydatidianiya that a Fayda will come. And all of us are very familiar with the statement at a time when there will be much difficulty. And after contemplating and reading the maqamat and translating it, it occurred to me that one of the difficulties that we face that's ongoing, it didn't start in the time of Shaykh Ibrahim, but he came in the middle of it, and it continues to grow, is the difficulty of the problem of a loss of ultimate meaning. So in other words, in the Muslim world, in the non-Muslim world, in the East or in the West, we are facing nihilism, or we're facing the loss of meaning. In other words, whether it's in the Muslim world where we are limited most of the time to rituals, or whether it's in the non-Muslim world where it's simply the acquisition of material things, either way, we're facing a time when meaninglessness, when nihilism is very strong. So for example, in the Christian world, or what I would call the post-Christian world, instead of being faced towards an ultimate meaning, there is no ultimate meaning. Rather, there's simply meanings. And if you like to, you can make as many meanings as you like, and the most meaningful things are material things themselves. And Muslims are following in the same way. In other words, there is no ultimate meaning, but rather just the acquisition of material things. And this gives some kind of meaning to life. But probably the biggest, to place Shaykh Ibrahim in this, even in Islam, even when amongst the Sufiya, and he makes a distinction between himself and the Sufiya in the end of the Maqamat ad-Din al-Thalath, he makes a distinction in his understanding in Ma'rifah between himself and the Sufis. And we'll come back to this point. The Shaykh Ibrahim, he came at a time when the shuyukh themselves, they despaired of Ma'rifah. The shuyukh themselves did not have access to Ma'rifah most of the time. And if they did, they weren't able to give it to other people. Now Ma'rifah is the key to ultimate meaning. In other words, in a time when meaning is lost, ultimate meaning is lost. In other words, people do not know the purpose of deen, and those who have no religion are simply trying to have more things. Shaykh Ibrahim came at a time when Ma'rifah again itself was completely, if not almost entirely lost. Therefore the object of deen, meaning Allah, and the key to Allah, meaning Ma'rifah, again. So Shaykh Ibrahim, what does he do? He produces a very simple text, Maqamat ad-Din al-Thalath. He produces a very apparently simple text. But what he's actually doing is he's reintroducing deen. He's reintroducing Islam to everyone. Muslim, non-Muslim, in his context, and probably more importantly after his context. He's introducing deen as a path to ultimate meaning. And we will see, I believe, that we will see that this meaning, this pathway, and this text, and Shaykh Ibrahim himself, may Allah be pleased with him, and his progeny, we will see moving forward that both Muslim and non-Muslim will come to this text. They need it. Why? Because we're living in a time, as I said, we've always understood that the Fayda will come in a time when there is difficulty. And usually we understand this difficulty to mean material difficulty. But by Allah, and I think we can all agree if we think about it, but that the biggest difficulty is a loss in meaning. What is deen? When Shaykh Ibrahim then explains what deen is, and he's explaining this again to the learned, he's explaining this to the unlearned, he's explaining this to the Muslim, and now, subhanAllah, the non-Muslim has access. What is deen reveals the dimensions of human capacity. for meaning, all based upon a secret. What secret is that? The secret of La ilaha illallah. That secret is zahir, it's outward. That secret is batin, it is inward. And that secret is batin al-batin. That secret is inward of inward. And what is the result? People were reading this text before us. Inshallah, people will read this text after us, naturally with their shuyukh, etc. But what is the result? Contemporary man will understand that their ultimate meaning is in La ilaha illallah. Their ultimate meaning, they themselves, as human beings, as people with nufus. لَقَدْ خَرَمْنَا Bani Adam. We have ennobled the Son of Man. That contemporary man will understand, contemporary woman will understand that their ultimate meaning itself lies in the kalima La ilaha illallah, because this meaning applies and fulfills their every dimension. I have a zahir, I have a batin, I have a batin al-batin. And this text and this deen and Shaykh Ibrahim's explanations apply to all of this. Why? Because as he explains in the beginning, La ilaha illallah is about ultimate existence. In other words, ultimate meaning. La ilaha illallah is about ultimate existence and therefore ultimate meaning. Contemporary man, both Eastern and Western, or Muslim or non-Muslim, however you want to, is therefore reintroduced to their most basic meaning. Maqamat ad-din thalath is an example, if not the only text required, to bring all of us as human beings back to our essential meaning. Whether we are Muslim or whether we are non-Muslim, whether we're Eastern, Western, Senegalese, Mauritanian, Californian, British, Chicagoan, ila akhiri. Why? Islam began as something strange. Do we know the hadith? Islam began as something strange and will return as something strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. So ultimate meaning ultimate existence was lost in the middle. Let me repeat. Shaykh Ibrahim came at a time when Islam was lost. He himself stated that he came at a time when even the Sufiya themselves almost lost the plot. They almost lost. Shaykh Ibrahim came at a time when Islam itself was lost. And he reintroduced Islam itself because it had become something unrecognizable. Islam began as something strange and will return as something strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. Now ultimate meaning, ultimate existence was lost in the middle. And all I wanted to say, I don't want to take too much of your time. We've heard very beautiful speeches. My speech is only just extra. But all I wanted to say was that, again, Islam began as something strange and will return as something strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. And after reading this text, many times, perhaps this is why the Arif and the Fayda is so strange. Perhaps the Arif and the Fayda is so strange because he's bringing back Islam from its beginning. How the Sahaba understood it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and why Shaykh Ibrahim had to write this text, and why this text is available to us. And alhamdulillah, now translated in English, Italian, I hope every single language. And I hope it goes to every place and every country and every era, so that again, Shaykh Ibrahim's ability to conquer or destroy the illness of the age, which is a lack of meaning, is I can personally testify to. And perhaps this maqamat, the Faydatidianiya thalath, perhaps this is a manual for the strangers. So glad tidings, strangers. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
برهام باء وراء ألف ثم ها ميم مجل فيض تيجان جخن نينان